Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Bibi Babatunde-Ikotun. I'm a faith and lifestyle content creator living in Ontario, Canada. If this is your first time stopping by my channel, come right in, you're welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, shout out to you, you're the best. So by the topic of today, we can say it's an Ask Auntie Bibi segment. No one sent me this question, I am asking myself, which is okay. So if you're new here, what's Ask Auntie Bibi? It's a segment where I offer advice, counsel, or any of your questions, of course, anonymously. So if you have any questions, you can send it to me via email, bibilamo04@gmail.com, or just reach out to me on any of my social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at bibilamo04. So let's go right into it. So today's question was inspired by something that was going on Twitter recently. How when Christians get married, when they're like newlyweds, there's this desire to want to like put out content, and is it a good thing? Is it wise? Is it reasonable? Should they stop it? Is it cringe? And there's so many people that have takes about this, and I think a lot of the takes can be sometimes mean-spirited. People say things like, oh, that Christian newlywed to marriage counselor pipeline, Christians like to do that. But here's the thing, there's absolutely nothing wrong in wanting to put out content. I think the only thing that I will say as a guardrail is to be mindful of your privacy, right? You don't want to put out like deep, intimate stuff like, oh, exact details about how your first night were, or just really private stuff that you would look back at 10 years down the line and you'd be like, yeah, that was too much information for me to share. I remember there was a time where, I think this was way back, where one of these young ladies I love, I won't mention her name, I think when she first got married, she had shared about how herself and her husband were like virgins, and it trended for the right and the wrong reasons, and they just got a lot of like negative attention. And if you watch her now, she's kind of like pulled back on the kind of things that she shared, because not everyone can handle it. So if you're going to go ahead sharing content that can be inspirational, don't even get me wrong, I for one like to hear stories of how we met, who said I love you first, and things like I like to hear cute stuff. So if you really feel like putting content out there about like the cute aspect of your relationship, how you met, who said I love you first, how you proposed, how the wedding went, how your honeymoon went, like general things that you can share to a stranger, like why not? And if you feel like you have advice as well, please share it. I know many times people be like, oh, but you've not been married for so long, why should you have advice? But the truth of the matter is that sometimes our advice does not only come from experience, some of it comes from revelation. Like there's some advice that I've given to people before I got married, and it was sound, and even as I've gotten married, it's sound. Even now that I'm child free, I still give like advice to people that have children, and it sounds. So because you're not in a specific situation or you've not experienced something as a believer, doesn't disqualify you from being able to give sound advice about it. For a case in point, we see that Apostle Paul in the Bible, he was never married, never had children, but he gave advice, solid advice concerning these things from a place of revelation of the gospel, because that's what the gospel does. The gospel gives us like revelation on how to see things, how to approach life. So never feel like, oh, I'm not married yet. I mean, are people mean? Yeah, people are very mean. I mean, there was a case on Twitter where we're talking about like parenting. One of my girls, I'm not going to mention her name, had like shared about how people should stop spanking their children, and someone had responded like, oh, why would I take advice from you? I mean, person didn't call her barren or whatever, but like, you don't have children, I'll take advice from people that have children. And I mean, she had a child, so of course it was like it didn't work, but it was such in bad taste. People can be very cruel, mean on the internet. I don't know where they're getting their training from, I don't know who their parents are, I don't know anything about them, but like people can be very, very cruel, people can be very, very mean. And when you put certain information about you out there, just know that there would always be backlash, because that's just life. There'll be good feedback, there'll be bad feedback. I for one have been on like that spectrum of getting like feedback from people that was good or bad. And if you're that kind of person that you can't handle too much noise or pressure or insult or someone sobbing you might want to avoid it. But if God has actually told you, because I know there are other people, God has told you like, this is what I want you to do now that you're married, I want you to put content around out there encouraging people that a godly relationship is possible, a godly marriage is possible, you can wait until your wedding night to have premarital sex, like then go for it. It will come with a backlash, and it's part of the life that we've been called to live anyways. If our early apostles were getting stoned, killed and murdered, like a little bit of backlash here and there on social media will not kill us. Like we can't even compare. It's all for the work of God and it's all for his kingdom. So don't feel like, oh, I don't want to do it because of the backlash. If God has given you an instruction, check it out, like do it. And I do have a video of like, if God has given you an assignment, I'll put the info card somewhere up here so you can check that out as well. If God has given you an assignment and you don't know where to start or what to do, I think that video will be very, very helpful for you, so you can definitely check that out. So yeah, it's okay to create content as a newlywed. It's okay to vlog your life. It's okay. Just be careful of those private moments. Like, we don't, like, it's not advisable to have your deep, intimate life. Am I saying you will not share these things with your friends? Yeah, you can. Like when I got married and I had friends asking me like, oh, how was your first night? Because I know a lot of times like Christian ladies, we can be like very, very nervous, especially if you've lived a life of like keeping your virginity, and all of a sudden somebody wants to sleep with you and take the virginity from you. You be like, hey, let's be calming down. And I know it can be very, very intense and things like that, which is why you can share it in safe, controlled environment. You can share it with your close friends, share it in your close circles, so we can learn from one another. Our experiences are so varied. For some people, like their wedding night was not that much of a hassle. It went well. I mean, maybe some hiccups here and there. For some people, it was very painful, excruciating. They wanted to die. So it's good for us to have these different stories, so those that are coming after us can learn. But those should be shared, in my opinion, in safe and controlled environments within like your little fellowship group and things like that. I not necessarily like on the internet. Like, I shouldn't be knowing how they penetrated you on your wedding night. Like, it's an invasion of my privacy. So don't invade my privacy. Don't let me invade your privacy. But yeah, there should be guardrails. And I think one thing that I always say to people is that before you start churning out content, you have to start with a mission statement. Like, why am I doing this? What is the essence? And the reason why that's very important, which is something I also have for myself personally, is that it helps you as you're going forward, so that way you know, okay, what is too much, what is too little, what is the aim of this content I'm sharing. Am I trying to inspire, educate, encourage? Whatever it is, your mission statement, your why is like your North Star when it comes to content creation. So if you and your husband, or you and your wife, wherever you are, want to start creating content, as soon as you get married, have a mission statement, have a why, so that way when you start, you have your North Star. You don't get confused, you don't get lost, you don't follow the crowd. Again, I repeat, intimate personal moments have no business being on the internet. I mean, would the Holy Spirit expressly tell you to share something sometimes? Maybe not. I don't know. I've never been in such a situation. But I think you should respect your privacy and the privacy of others as you go about sharing. So there again, don't be scared. Don't be shy. You don't have to give advice. If you don't want to give advice, you can just share about your life. If people want to take advice from your life, then that's cool. So if you've enjoyed watching this video, or you have additional takes, I actually want to know in the comments, do you disagree? Do you agree? What do you think about this pipeline that people say of Christian couple to marriage counselor after they get married? Is it mean-spirited? What are your thoughts about it? Let me know in the comment section below. I look forward to your comments. I look forward to responding, arting those comments. Again, if you have questions like this that you would like me to answer, you can reach out to me via social media, bibilamo04 on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or you can send me an email at bibilamo04@gmail.com. And if you prefer for me to like have an anonymous Google Doc, I can also create that. If you want to like ask me questions anonymously, that can also be worked upon for sure. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. I really love it when you watch my videos. You can also check out the remaining Ask Auntie Bibi segments that I've done. I have an album. I'll put it somewhere up here where you can watch all the Ask Auntie Bibi videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a good week. Bye.